Warm welcome. You're watching News Today at 9 p.m. I am Preeti Choudhry. Our big talking point this evening, the TMC has taken on the Election Commission, this time going directly to the top court of the country. The S.I.R. back in focus in Uttar Pradesh as well, where 2 crore 89 lakh voters have been deleted in Uttar Pradesh's S.I.R. S.I.R. Special intensive role revision leading to mass deletions. Once again, a question that we will ask during the course of this bulletin. Also, we have an exclusive lined up for you, Jeffrey Sachs on Trump's Venezuela gambit. All of that coming up first. Allow me to take you through the headlines. Showdown over S.I.R. exercise escalates. TMC MP Derek O'Brien moves apex court against S.I.R. alleging procedural irregularities. Poll body releases draft list in UP, 2.8 crore deleted from the rolls. Controversy over provocative slogans in JNU after Supreme Court denies bail to Umar Khalid. Modi Shah ki kabar khudegi slogans chanted. Disciplinary action to be taken against those involved. The student body in JNU claims bid to defame the students of JNU. Then they are being misrepresented. Apex Court lashes out at pollution body over worsening air in Delhi, directs CAQM to form panel of experts to determine cause of pollution and solve the issue. It's a setback for the Stalin government. Madras High Court upholds single-judge verdict to light Deepam in Madurai. The DMK government now to move the top court challenging the High Court's verdict. CBI summons Vijay in Karur stampede case. CBI summons Vijay on January 12. 41 died in the stampede at Vijay's Karur rally. Healthcare for all and a question on the scheme Ayushman Bharat. Healthcare still a luxury for poor. Eye-opening India Today reality check on how Ayushman scheme has not been implemented. There is no end to Hindu hate in Bangladesh. 40-year-old Sarat Chakravarti dies after being attacked with sharp weapons. This comes just hours after another Hindu, Rana Pratap, was killed. The centre gives Elon Musk's ex additional time till January 7 to submit a detailed action taken report over obscene content. Earlier, government issued a stern warning to the social media platform over misuse of Grok. And European leaders strongly oppose Trump's suggestion to take control of Greenland. Key leaders unanimously say the Arctic island, Greenland, which is rich in minerals, belongs to its people. All right, viewers, after Bihar, political heat is rising in West Bengal and Uttar Pradesh over the poll body's special intensive revision of the voter rolls. The TMC Congress, the Trinamool Congress has approached the top court alleging errors, undisclosed algorithm and voter deletion through AI put together by the BJP's IT cell. While the EC insists the process is fair with elections around the corner, this battle over who gets to vote is turning into a full-blown political showdown. Here's the full report.
Political heat over the special intensive revision of electoral rolls is rising. The Trinamool Congress has moved the Supreme Court against the Election Commission, questioning the process followed by the poll body. The petition claims voters are being deleted centrally without the knowledge of electoral registration officers. The party accuses the EC of mapping voters using undisclosed algorithms and software. The plea claims that state CEO issued instructions to officials through WhatsApp messages and oral directions. It seeks extension of deadline for submitting claims and objections from the currently fixed January 15th. The party wants EC to allow booth-level agents of parties to assist voters during hearings. allow virtual hearings through family member for migrant voters, and doorstep or telephonic verification to those above 60 with medical conditions.
আর এসআইআর এর ব্যাপারে আমি সবাইকে বলবো ভুল ভাল করছে ইলেকশন কমিশন জীবিতদের মৃত দেখাচ্ছে বয়োজ্যেষ্ঠদের নাকে নল পরিয়ে নিয়ে যাচ্ছে এবং যেসব অ্যাপ করেছেন বিজেপির আইটি সেলকে দিয়ে সেগুলো ইললিগাল আনকনস্টিটিউশনাল আনডেমোক্রেটিক এভাবে চলতে পারে না
These discrepancies will be addressed by
The West Bengal Chief Electoral Officer on December 29th halted hearings for thousands of voters who were wrongly marked as unmapped. The CEO's directive claimed that the mistake was due to error in conversion of PDF of 2002 voter list into different format.
S.I.R আমি আস্তে আস্তে শুনছিলাম হায় রে পোড়া কপাল অমর্ত্য সেনকে হিয়ারিং এর নোটিশ পাঠিয়েছে অমর্ত্য সেন ভারতবর্ষের জন্য নোবেল পুরস্কার জিতে এনেছে যার হাত ধরে দেশ সমৃদ্ধ হয়েছে সেই অমর্ত্য সেনকে এসআইআর এর নোটিশ পাঠিয়েছে কালকে দেখছি বাংলা সিনেমার উজ্জ্বলতম নক্ষত্র অভিনেতা দেব তাকে হিয়ারিং নোটিশ পাঠিয়েছে মোহাম্মদ শামি যে ওয়ার্ল্ড কাপে খেলে দেশের জন্য বিশ্বকাপ জিতেছে তাকে এসআইআর এর নোটিশ পাঠিয়েছে নোটিশ পাঠিয়ে আনম্যাপ করে দেওয়ার চক্রান্ত
The BJP has rejected TMC charges.
बिहार का वोटर लिस्ट पब्लिश हुआ एक भी आदमी सुप्रीम कोर्ट में नहीं गया है चुनाव हो गया है सुपड़ा साफ हो गया है इंडी का सरकार भी बन गया है बंगाल में चल रहा है अभी कुछ है तो उनको जाना चाहिए नहीं तो 14 फरवरी का बाद कुछ जेन्युइन वोटर का नाम जो इंडियन है उसका नाम डिलीट हो जाएगा तो विद डॉक्यूमेंट चला जाएगा
Meanwhile, the EC released the draft electoral roll for Uttar Pradesh. Out of 15.44 crore voters, 12.55 crore or 81.30% submitted enumeration forms. 2.89 crore, that is roughly 18.70%, were left out.
So, मृतक मतदाता 46.23 लाख 46.23 लाख लापता या अनुपस्थित रहे या उनको फील्ड में बीएलओ को मिले नहीं ऐसे 2.17 करोड़ मतदाता हैं 2.17 करोड़ और अगर प्रतिशत में कहें तो 14.06 14.06%.
The special intensive revision has become an election issue in West Bengal, with the ruling TMC alleging targeted deletions. Assembly elections in Bengal are likely to be held after 3 months. Bureau Report, India Today.
All right, so the questions that we asked this evening, S.I.R leading to mass deletions in Uttar Pradesh, in West Bengal, is S.I.R purification or exclusionary? Does the EC need to be more transparent? Fear-mongering by opposition parties is a charge that has been laid by the government. All right, let me take all these questions first to Dr. S.I. Qureshi, former CEC. Mr. Qureshi, thank you for taking the time out and joining us on News Today. First up, the focus, Mr. Qureshi, is back on the EC's adherence to statutory procedures. Compared to the past elections in which you presided over roll revisions, what is the difference?
Well, there is no doubt that the purification of electoral rolls is the first responsibility of the Election Commission. In fact, I take you back to the framing of the Constitution. That was the time when the decision was being taken that since the elections will be held only once in 5 years, why should we have even a single officer full-time? Only at the time of election we will appoint a CEC. That is when it was said that no, electoral rolls have to be updated every year, for which we need an officer. So let us have at least one officer, which will be the CEC, and that is how CEC institution was born. So the point here is that the focus on the purification of electoral roll and a regular updation is a constitutional mandate and a legal mandate without doubt, right? At the same time, I would like to say that for the last 75 years, all of us have been making all kinds of efforts to update and purify the rolls, some with success, some with lesser success, but all of us have been working on it. Now, in 2003 and 4, we used to have an intensive revision. That is also for sure. That is true. But in 2003, it was decided by the then commission that now that you have digitized the electoral roll, it is easier, better to update them every year by going door to door. Now, throwing out the existing roll into the dustbin totally and starting afresh, that leads to my question that what took us 30 years to achieve 99 perfection, these people think that they will do it in 30 days. Fantastic if they do it, congratulations and very well done, but it's impossible. It's impossible. The kind of deletion will happen, the kind of complaints will crop up. You will see as the situation develops.
All right, so you're saying to complete an exercise in 30 days, which usually have taken years, will lead to further chaos. So should, one final question, Mr. Qureshi, before I let you go. So should the EC come clean with safeguards that could prevent perception of bias? Because you have the TMC, and I'm going to take you through on some of the points that they want relief on. They've approached the top court of the country, the Supreme Court, while on the other hand, there have been about 2 crores 80 lakh deletions in the state of Uttar Pradesh that has also been contested. Now, should the EC, where these concerns are concerned, and these are concerns that they have raised, that the EC should extend the deadline for submitting claims and objections, that the EC should stop issuing formal instructions through channels like WhatsApp, that the EC ensure no voter is left out because of erroneous mapping, which there is already a pause. The EC has given an explanation on that account, that the EC do away with extra statutory category described by it as a logical discrepancy, that the EC allow booth-level agents to assist voters during hearings. So there are a number of issues that the TMC has raised. Do you think the EC needs to take it in the right spirit and address them point by point?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, it all boils down to transparency. Exactly everything that they do should be transparent, and they should be open to the suggestions and criticism of the public and the opposition and address them to their satisfaction. Now, taking you to Bihar, the initial exercise was started in the name of foreigners. Oh, there are so many foreigners and we have to identify them and throw them out. Wonderful idea. You should do it. And what is it that we found? Number one, we haven't heard from Election Commission how many foreigners were found. We only heard from the media that in 8 crore Biharis who were made to run around from pillar to post, they were able to find 500 foreigners, of which 150 were Bangladeshis and 350 were Hindu women from Nepal, who had come by marriage to Bihar.
Right. But Mr. Qureshi, the defense of the EC has been in through it all, that where Bihar is concerned, because you're using Bihar as an example, that there were no complaints that were filed by political parties and activists.
Yeah, actually, that's a point which is quite baffling. At the same time, I have heard only on the media, no, nothing from the horse's mouth, that the people who went to complain to BLO, because BLO was the frontline person, they were shooed away. So all 65 lakhs just keeping quiet, and let there be an external audit even now, whether the 65 lakh deletion.
Okay.
After all, in the Supreme Court, people appeared who had been declared dead. By there may have been no appeal and no complaint, but they're declared dead and deleted. They appeared before the Supreme Court. Sir, I'm alive, I'm here, and I've been deleted.
Okay.
So what about the explanation of all these cases?
All right. So one final point, Mr. Qureshi. You're saying the EC needs to be transparent. It needs to address all the points that have been raised by the TMC in West Bengal. You have the Samajwadi Party and the Congress in the state of Uttar Pradesh. Come clean, give point-by-point rebuttal to all the clauses that have been raised by both parties. Correct, sir? That's what you're saying.
Absolutely. And also you brought in
and you're saying extend the timeline.
Yes, so exactly. In Bihar, one could understand that there was very time available, but this is an exercise which goes on around the year. Pick up the states which are going to poll 3 years down the line. Why immediately which are going to poll in 2 months and create all the chaos and demand for extension by a week, by a fortnight. So all the I still feel that the last word is yet to be heard, and Even out of 65 lakhs, how many were illegally deleted? This will all come out in due course.
Okay. All right, sir. Thank you for joining us and taking the time out. Let's take all these questions. Well, okay, yes, make your point, sir. Very quickly.
Preeti, if I can make. Yeah, you had mentioned about artificial intelligence and the misuse of computer. That is a very serious charge, and that's a very serious possibility. We again, the election commission should come clean whether they have hired some agencies using artificial intelligence to, I would not say manipulate the role, but to manage the rules. So that also has to be clear.
Okay. Now that's a charge, fair point. So you're saying, the EC needs to come clean on that, because I'll just elaborate what the charge is. The TMC says that the EC is using artificial intelligence via the BJP IT cell, that is deleting, roles and names from the West Bengal voter list through artificial intelligence. Now that's a charge that the TMC government and Mamata Banerjee is making. Thank you, Mr. Qureshi, for taking the time out and joining us. We're going to take all these questions to our panelists this evening. Joining me, Rajat Sethi, political analyst; Yogendra Yadav, co-founder, Swaraj India; Pradeep Bhandari, national spokesperson, BJP; Tausif Rahman, spokesperson, TMC. I'd like to begin with you, Mr. Bhandari. Now, with what the TMC has accused the EC of, the TMC has approached the top court of the country. We can go point by point on the apprehensions that the EC has raised. But the larger question, Pradeep Bhandari, is that maybe this whole exercise is being rushed. And why I say that is because the EC's pause on hearing for wrongly unmapped voters due to technical errors has been cited as an issue by the TMC as evidence of what the TMC feels as acute mismanagement. Now, how does this glitch somewhere down the line reflect on the necessity of S.I.R. To clean rolls inflated by what bogus voters is what the EC suggests, especially in the time frame allotted?
Well, Preeti, first of all, the questions which are directed to the Election Commission to be answered by the Election Commission, and the petition of the Trinamool Congress is in the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court is...
Pradeep Bhandari, would you correct your audio? We are having a bit of a problem with your audio. Would you correct that? And we're going to come right back to you because there's a problem with your audio link. Let Pradeep correct that. I want to cut across to Rajat. Would you want to take that question? Because the EC itself has paused the hearing for wrongly unmapped voters. They are saying that there is a problem with some conversion of PDF, but there is a procedural issue.
See, you are operating at extensive scales. Also, you need to double click into the process as to what all has the Election Commission done in the run-up while there was an initial deadline. The initial reports when it came about that nearly 3 crore voters were deleted, then the authorities said that, okay, let us give additional time. And then, more weeks were given. After, in that window, when it was realized that certain polling booths were crossing the threshold of 1,000 voters, around 1,500 new polling booths were also created. This was all done to revisit the exercise and to ensure that there are absolutely no voters which have been deleted just because of, the over pressure on the BLO or BLO not being able to go to that household for the mandatory 3 times. All of this was established. But, I think the only problem in this analysis is that we are starting with something sinister. We're starting with that assumption. Instead of that, we are not interpreting it in a way that people have actually moved out of the state of UP. There are already around 50 lakh voters which are presumed dead here. There is also a certain set of voters which have moved out, and there is another set of voters broadly categorized where the reasons for the dip in these voters are articulated. And by the way, when this is still not final. March is a timeline when you can still, if first the draft would be published. If there are voters who have been missed out, they still have the opportunity. They still have 2 months. But there is a method to madness. You cannot have completely ad hoc and give years and years and years of time in a day and age when we claim that things should move digital. Things should be done using the techniques and should be in a compressed timeline.
Okay.
I mean, how is it normal? I was hearing Qureshi say that it is normal to do it over several years.
Okay, Rajat, I'm going to come back to you also because you also need to correct your internet connection. We are losing your video. Your audio is perfect, but there's a problem with your video. I want to bring in Yogendra Yadav into this conversation with what Rajat said, Yogendra Yadav, that there are people who have moved out, so these deletions shouldn't really be surprising. But I'd like to take our viewers through the deletions that have actually happened state by state. In Bihar, before S.I.R, there were 7.89 crores voters. post SIR that dropped to 7.42 crores. There was a deletion of 47 lakhs. In Uttar Pradesh, there has been a deletion now of 2.89 crores, where before SIR, the voter list had 15.44 crore voters. Now it has 12.55 crore voters. Vis-a-vis West Bengal, there's been a drop of about 58 lakh voters. Do you think it's just people have just moved out? There hasn't been purification of voter rolls for so long, or do you think this is a systematic way of undermining electoral fairness by disenfranchisement?
Preeti, I wish to begin by reminding us that what we have witnessed today, namely an exclusion of 2 crore 89 lakh voters, is unprecedented in human history, not just Indian history, not just Indian electoral history. Nowhere in the world has this scale of exclusion of voters ever taken place. We are speaking something very important. Number two, one simple way of judging, and that's something I've been saying over and over again, that, the first presumption can be, all right, there were too many voters, maybe they were wrong voters, maybe the list was originally inflated. One simple way of checking that is to ask, what is the adult population of Uttar Pradesh today? Now you have those figures. Before SIR, we had 15.45 crore people there. What was the population of UP at that point? 16 crore 6 lakhs. These are not my figures, Preeti. These are figures of Government of India Population Projection Committee. So if there was a fair SIR, the number should have gone up from 15 crore 45 lakhs to something closer to 16 crores. And what do we have? It has come down to 12.65 crores. Now, responding to what Rajat said, it would have been a fair assumption 6 months ago. You may say, okay, Bihar has too many people leaving Bihar. Uttar Pradesh is also an out-migration state. But fortunately, Preeti, now we have in front of us data from in-migration states, which are and these are not my classifications, these are classifications of Niti Aayog of India. In-migration states are Gujarat and Tamil Nadu. Can you please show your viewers the figures from Gujarat and Tamil Nadu? Gujarat has had a deletion of 73.7 lakhs voters. Yeah. That's right. Tamil Nadu has had a deletion of 97 lakh. These are in-migration states. So the argument about out-migration falls flat. And may I also mention something very, very interesting and scandalous, Preeti. At the time when ECI has conducted an intensive revision of voters list in Uttar Pradesh, exactly at that same time, another constitutional body, namely State Election Commission of Uttar Pradesh, has prepared fresh electoral rolls for panchayat elections. They also carried out extensive revision in which 1.4 crore voters were deleted, 1.8 were added. And know, Preeti, what is the figure? According to Election Commission of India figures released this evening, the whole of UP has 12.4 crore voters, or 12.56 crore voters. And according to State Election Commission of Uttar Pradesh, figures released on 5th of December, the rural Uttar Pradesh alone has 12.7 crore
All right,
voters.
so you're saying there are lots of... So lots of anomalies and variations there, which what Yogendra Yadav is pointing out, and he's just talking about in the number of deletions that have taken place. Okay, we have Preeti Bhandari back with us. Preeti Bhandari, I want to bring you back in. He's laughing, but Preeti Bhandari, it is, one really does need to look into the sheer deletion that has happened in the state of Uttar Pradesh. Nearly 3 crore voters have been deleted, which is a deletion of nearly 19%, where we are talking about the voters of the state of Uttar Pradesh. There have been deletions right from the state of Gujarat, from Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Chhattisgarh, Rajasthan, and, the numbers are big. That's one aspect of it. The other, of course, is the charge that has been laid by the TMC, where the TMC has gone to the top court. It's something that the BJP always said, that, approach the courts. They've gone to the top court with a list which they feel are grave anomalies in the way the EC is carrying out the S.I.R. process. And a big charge there is that the use of artificial intelligence, where the EC is colluding with the BJP IT cell to delete names.
Well, with the speaker before me will find everything scandalous till the time he sees Rahul Gandhi becoming the Prime Minister, which will not happen in his lifetime or my lifetime. Let us just state certain facts. This is the same pattern which was followed in Bihar elections. and before the Bihar elections, where certain articles by the speaker, by Trinamool, by RJD in the Congress was written, when the entire matter went to the Supreme Court, the primacy and the principle of the petition was that S.I.R should be stayed, and it was rejected in the court, and not more than 20 names could be produced, where claims were made that crores of voters and lakhs of voters were deleted from Bihar. After the elections were finished in Bihar, neither the RJD or the Congress could even produce a single fact which proved that the election was rigged or the S.I.R was favoring the Bharatiya Janata Party. What is the fact right now? The fact right now is that at present the Trinamool Congress has 77,867 BLAs. Now the BLAs are individuals who are being appointed by various political parties on the booth. If gentlemen here do not know about it, and the BLAs have only till now put 3 applications for inclusion and there have been 0 applications for exclusion. The Election Commission has given at least more than a month of time, whereas the Trinamool Congress believes, or any party including ours believe that the process is favoring us or the TMC, we can approach the court or we can approach the Election Commission. So this whole narrative of creating a hysteria, creating doubt in the mind of voters failed in Bihar and it will also fail in Bengal. Now what is the truth in Bengal? The truth in Bengal is there is an electoral officer, C. Murugan, who goes to inspect in the Trinamool Congress goons and gundas try to encircle him and there is an FIR which is registered. What is the truth? The truth is that whether it is Abhishek Banerjee or Mamata Banerjee, they have claimed that the S.I.R process is a process which they will not allow because it favors the BJP, and they will even go to the extent of breaking the legs of the electoral officer. Now the law and order is under state subject. So what we are here saying is that if the Trinamool Congress believes that the matter is favoring us, please go to the court. Now they've gone to the court. Let them present the facts in front of the court.
Okay.
It's the same pattern that each political party follows. They will present certain technical arguments. The technical arguments backed by technicalities without having an iota of fact. And this is why it is rejected by the court. And this is why I ask you that at the present moment, in Uttar Pradesh, your argument is that so many voters are deleted. If voters are even deleted from places where the Bharatiya Janata Party has won. So if we believe that if one of our voter or a genuine voter is removed, RBLA will go and apply in Form 6 or in Form 7. If the Samajwadi Party believes that its voter is removed, it will apply in Form 7.
Pradeep Bhandari, where that is concerned, it's not about
Yes.
just the Samajwadi Party voters being removed. It's a basic question of disenfranchisement. That is what is the question.
No, my argument, Preeti, is that the basic question was also put in the Bihar electoral process. But when the entire matter went to the Supreme Court, Mr. Yadav could not even present a certain fact beyond.
Okay, I'll cut across to Yogendra Yadav. Before that, I want to bring in the TMC spokesperson. Allow me to do that, to bring in the TMC spokesperson into this conversation. One of the charges is also, viewers, that why the TMC has mooted the AI theory at the behest of the BJP IT cell colluding with the EC, is where they have given names like cricketer Mohammad Shami, who's now been called for a hearing with the EC on S.I.R, on Amartya Sen and some Bengali actors. But I want to bring in Tausifur Rahman. Basically, with your petition filed today by the TMC, by your leader Derek O'Brien, seems to suggest, and if I go point by point, Mr. Rahman, that the EC, and that's huge, has acted outside the purview of the law and has followed arbitrary procedures during conducting the S.I.R exercise in West Bengal. That's a huge charge.
Good evening, Preeti, and good evening to everyone. Preeti, our concern is very deep, and this concern is not coming up from the moon. I mean, it's there on the ground. Whatever the BJP wants to say, but they will not speak against the EC because, chor chor musere bhai, so it's very simple, So Derek O'Brien has moved to the Supreme Court because the Election Commission has become a WhatsApp commission. I've told you before as well. I mean, operating through informal channel with zero accountability. Critical instruction and warnings are being issued exclusively through WhatsApp. You tell me, who does this? From WhatsApp, you want to delete the names of Indian citizens bypassing formal statutory communication system. This makes an audit trial impossible and absolves decision makers of the accountability, Preeti. How can a constitutional body abandon formal documentation and operate like a private chat group? I'll show you the proof. I mean, I won't go away from your show. I can show you the proof. The All India Trinamool Congress has urged the Supreme Court to declare all such informal WhatsApp instruction illegal and direct the ECI to use only formal statutory channels for all the communication. I mean, are we asking much from the Election Commission? I mean, once upon a time, we were proud of a democracy. Now it has become a hypocrisy. The ECI deleted 58.20 lakh, to be precise, voters without any notice of personal hearing, causing voter number to drop from 7.66 crore to 7.08 crore. Mass deletion, Preeti ji. Mass deletion, nearly 60 lakh citizens without notice violates natural justice and democratic rights.
Sir, please allow,
wait,
there's
hold
no
on.
point talking over each other. You were allowed, time.
Yes.
Give the same
अब
courtesy.
अब प्रीति जी आप मुझे ये बताइए, the ECI's own memo admits their flawed digitization of 2002 rolls created widespread systematic errors in voter data mapping. नहीं मानेंगे ये लोग. But this is coming from EC itself. They created an extra statutory logical discrepancy category unique to Bengal that will send notice to 1.36 crore. Pradeep ji,
Okay.
1.36 crore voters based on spelling variations and
Okay.
algorithm errors, all without and written guidelines. Without written
All right,
guidelines.
okay. I'm going to come back to you, Mr. Rahman. I want to bring in Rajat Sethi back into this conversation, and we'll go to Yogendra Yadav right after that. Rajat Sethi, nobody's saying that, the same argument that was applied to Bihar as well, that don't conduct the S.I.R. Conduct it, but conduct it fairly, give it time, so that everything gets sorted out. There's no fear-mongering. And the reason for that, and it's playing out right now in West Bengal, where the EC has paused the hearing for wrongly unmapped voters. What the EC has said, this is a technical error because of translation of a PDF file. Now, if there are technical errors and you're dealing with a deadline of 30 days, why that? Just give more time so every possible question, every possible apprehension can be ironed out.
Preeti ji, what is comfortable time according to you? Do you have a number? And have you not gone in with a simple thing where, work has a nature of filling the space that is there? Whatever timeline you will give, work will be done towards closer to the deadline. That is, we are all habitual to that. Therefore, I'm asking to you, what is an optimal timeline? 2 months, 3 months? Tell that. And by the way, while it was being wrongly asserted by the TMC spokesperson here, these are not the final lists. These are the draft lists. Again, you can, there is a window of 2-3 months which has been given around which you can file that, right? And then thereafter, also, if there are issues, you can still approach the Election Commission through the due process. But if you want to tear aside all due processes and come out with your idiosyncratic view of how things should be, that is up to you. The world doesn't work by that logic. The world is not TMC, and TMC is not the world. So all I'm saying here is, if there are alternate approaches, alternate timelines that you believe that, say, a 25 crore population or a 15-16 crore population of UP can be dealt with, please suggest. And then I can assure you the Election Commission will possibly listen to it.
Okay, all right. So what's the solution? Yogendra Yadav, please come in. I have little time. I want to bring in all three of you at the back of it. Mr. Yadav.
The solution is what the Election Commission itself has done in the case of Assam. Actually, unfortunately, no one in this country has noticed. In 12 states, one method was used, S.I.R, which is to say enumeration forms and all the certificates and papers. Every single state has seen massive deletions. In Assam, a different method was used, house-to-house physical verification, additions and deletions. The result is, after additions and deletions, 0% exclusion. Assam provides the answer. It's a ready-made answer. It's a classic physical verification. Yes, intensive revision is needed. Yes, serious, thorough revision of voters list is a good idea, but S.I.R carries a design defect. And the defect is such that wherever you take S.I.R, it will always lead to exclusion. It will always lead to decline in gender ratio, something which we have established. May I point out, Preeti, that I had presented 3 facts. None of them have been refuted so far. Number 1, that it is the largest ever exclusion in the history of the world. Number 2, that this is not borne out by the population figures. It should have actually gone up instead of coming down. And number 3, it is exactly the opposite of what another constitutional authority has done in the state of Uttar Pradesh. All these 3 point out to a massive problem that we are looking at.
Okay.
And in fact, it's not me, it is the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh who had expressed deep disappointment 10 days ago, saying 4 crore voters are being deleted. I'm no fan of Mr. Yogi, but it's the Chief Minister who I'm sure my 2 friends may not wish to disagree with. who has said that this is a problem. So
Okay.
4 crore voters, less than the population figures would suggest, is, may I
Okay.
suggest, a serious problem.
All right, Pradeep Bhandari, there are valid questions that Yogendra Yadav has raised, and that's the reason why give it time so that each and every question can be answered fairly and there is satisfaction. Nobody does not want the S.I.R. to be conducted. They just want it to be conducted in a manner which seems free of bias, even if there is no bias.
Well, Preeti, do you agree at least that neither you, me, or Mr. Yadav or Rajat or Trinamool Congress is the best judge out here when the Supreme Court has heard the matter, is hearing the matter? These were the precise arguments, the similar arguments which were made in Bihar. What was the conclusion of Bihar? Post the elections in Bihar after the S.I.R. was conducted, have you seen Mr. Yadav going to the court and saying that it was a mass exclusionary exercise, it should be declared illegal, it should be declared wrong, it should not be done in this manner? No. If they believe that the exercise is being conducted wrongfully in Bengal, please go to the court. Please present your arguments. Why is it that whenever you go to the court and present your arguments on a principal level, all of those stand rejected? You are not able to produce more than 20 such cases where there is a procedural error. It is absolutely wrong to think that it will lead to a loss of gender ratio.
Okay.
Please see the voting percentage in Bihar. Point number 3, I'll tell you the real issue. The real issue is it is but natural that S.I.R. will have exclusion because you have so many illegal voters. You will have sort of voters who are dead voters. You have voters who are shifted. It is but natural that the division of voters cannot lead to inclusion. It will obviously lead to exclusion. And this is not what I am saying. This is what has happened in the past. And if you do not believe me, please present the argument. And in fact, not me. It's the booth level agent of every political party who's working there with the BLO, presenting the cases at the BLO, including the Trinamool Congress, who agrees with it. This is why these netas who sit in the studios, including my dear friend Pradeep and me, we will present a narrative which favors our party. But the ground reality is accepted by the BLAs. This is why you see he speaks about 58 lakh voters.
I want to bring in Mr. Rahman. Pradeep Bhandari, allow me to bring in Mr. Rahman and then I'll try to go for 10 seconds to all of you. Allow me, sir, allow me to go. Mr. Yadav, I know you want to come in, but allow me to bring in Mr. Rahman and I'll try and give all of you 10 seconds after that. Mr. Rahman, go ahead.
Preeti ji, this is the problem. It's not about narrative that Trinamool Congress wants to show any narrative or throw any narrative on BJP. The AITC seeks extension of the January 15 deadline for claims and objection, postponement of final roll publication and elimination of this arbitrary logical disparity category. The ECI is disparity against Bengal. Arey, क्या बात कर रहे हो आप प्रदीप भंडारी जी? अरे narrative किस बात का?
Pradeep ji, I'll come back to you. Allow him to make his point. He gave you unfettered time. No, sir. Allow him. I'll come back to you. Please don't interrupt. Make your point. Mr. Rahman, you have 20 seconds. Make your point.
We are asking Election Commission for the transparency. The ECI is also restraining booth-level agents from assisting voters during hearings in Bengal, despite the Supreme Court's order to the contrary in the Bihar S.I.R. matter. लीजिए बिहार की बात मैंने कर दिया. So you are lying daylight, boss. आप साफ झूठ बोल रहे हो टीवी पे.
All right, I'm going to come to all of you for 10 seconds each. I think Rajat Sethi, we don't have him there, but Mr. Yadav, go ahead, sir. Make your point. You wanted to come in for
I just wanted to clarify that the Supreme Court of India has not given any order whatsoever on this issue. They have not rejected any of those things, unless the person here happens to have some secret order which I have not seen. And incidentally, it's a contempt of court to attribute it orders that they have not given.
Okay. All right. Pradeep Bhandari.
Well, Mr. Yadav again here is lying. Mr. Yadav and the entire applications went for a stay on the S.I.R. The Supreme Court denied any stay on the S.I.R. Post the conduct of the Bihar election, there has not been a single observation of the Supreme Court which is contravention to what I have been saying, that the entire exercise in Bihar has been free and fair. Mr. Pradeep is lying because he knows that once the S.I.R. exercise is completed, that vote was illegal infiltrators that the
Mr. Rahman,
will be out
20
of the
seconds,
voter.
sir. Actually, 15 seconds. Mr. Rahman, make your point.
I mean, you said I will have to ask.
No. When you are restraining booth-level agents from assisting voters during hearing in Bengal, despite the Supreme Court order, the ECI engaged a private vendor with a checkered contrary.
Stop lying, my dear friend.
Okay, I'm going to just let it be because now it's going to come into a shouting match. I'm going to let it be. I appreciate all three of you for joining us. Thank you. But what we will do and endeavor to do is put the spotlight on the special intensive role revision exercise that is being conducted in the state of West Bengal and the numbers that are coming in of deletion from the state of Uttar Pradesh, which by the looks of it is very, very high, 3 crores. Leave it at that, but I want to touch in on a story right now that comes in from Uttarakhand. It's protests that have been taking place now for years, where a case that shook Uttarakhand is back in the spotlight. 3 years After 19-year-old Ankita Bhandari was brutally murdered, protests have once again erupted across the state, with political parties and people not just demanding answers but a CBI probe into what really happened. In fact, accusations of a VIP connection have intensified, public outrage has intensified, putting the state government on the defensive.
A political storm is brewing in Uttarakhand. Public anger rising over the Ankita Bhandari murder case. Across the state, Congress workers and civil society members have hit the streets demanding a CBI probe in the case. Ankita Bhandari, a 19-year-old who worked as a receptionist at a resort near Rishikesh, was found dead in September 2022. 3 years later, on the 19th of May 2025, the resort owner Pulkit Arya and 2 others were convicted of murder. The police said Ankita Bhandari was targeted after she resisted Arya's attempts to push her into prostitution. Recently, actor Urmila Sanawar, wife of former BJP MLA Suresh Rathod, released recordings of her conversations with Rathod on social media, alleging that a VIP was involved in the Ankita murder case. Since then, protests are raging.
संदेश ये है कि आज पूरा प्रदेश आंदोलित है, उद्वेलित है। लोग इस बात को अच्छी तरह समझ गए हैं कि अंकिता भंडारी हत्याकांड में कोई बहुत बड़ा नेता भाजपा का संलिप्त है। पुष्कर धामी जी इस बात को अच्छी तरह जानते हैं कि वो तथाकथित वीआईपी कौन है और पहले दिन से ही सबूतों को मिटाने का काम चल रहा है।
In Dehradun, hundreds, including women protesters, marched towards the Chief Minister's residence on Monday. Chief Minister Pushkar Dhami rejected the charges of a cover-up.
जो भी उस समय में घटना हुई वो बहुत ही हृदय विदारक घटना थी और हम सब लोग बहुत आहत हुए। तत्काल ही हमने महिला आईपीएस अधिकारी के चेयरमैनशिप में या कहिए उनके नेतृत्व में एक कमेटी का गठन किया, एसआईटी जांच का गठन किया और एसआईटी ने अपनी पूरी जांच करी।
Ankita's father, Virendra Bhandari, broke his silence, thanking organizations for reigniting the fight for justice.
अपनी समस्त उत्तराखंड की जनता से विशेष मात्र शक्ति से मैं धन्यवाद करना चाहता हूं कि वो मेरी बेटी नहीं है, वो आपकी भी बेटी थी और जब तक वीआईपी का पता नहीं पड़ा तब तक आपने इसी तरह संघर्ष करना है।
The police claim no VIP was ever involved in the case.
सोशल मीडिया में या कई सारे स्टेक होल्डर्स में कुछ नाम देखे, उन नामों पे हमने सब में काम किया। कोई भी ऐसा रेलिवेंट और तथ्य हमारे पास नहीं था कि वीआईपी नाम का कोई व्यक्ति उन शख्स जिस पे हम काम कर चुके कोई एग्जिस्ट करता है।
As public anger simmers and trust hangs in the balance, the Ankita Bhandari case remains a painful reminder of a family's loss and a society's demand for the truth. It has now become a political and moral test for Uttarakhand. Bureau Report, India Today.
We're going to keep a keen eye on developments in Uttarakhand and the story there. With that, let's move on. As deposed Venezuelan President Maduro pleaded not guilty in a Manhattan court, a UN Human Rights Commission official warned that the U.S. operation breached a core principle of international law. Even as the legal battle unfolds, sources say the Trump administration is preparing talks with oil companies to explore boosting Venezuelan oil production in the aftermath of Maduro's ouster. Meanwhile, European leaders have pushed back strongly against Trump's suggestion of taking control of Greenland. Leaders were unanimous in saying the mineral-rich Arctic land belongs to its people. My colleague Geeta Mohan spoke exclusively to economist Jeffrey Sachs. Here are excerpts from that interview. Do you buy the premise that the action was carried out to take out a drug lord, or does it have to do with oil, power, supremacy? Many have also said that Maduro provoked him with the televised dancing and mockery of Trump. What do you think are the primary reasons or provocations over here? And we've seen visuals over here. Did you anticipate, and I've been watching your interviews, your conversations, you must have anticipated all this, the movement, the action, but picking up a president from Venezuela and bringing him to American soil, did you anticipate that?
Well, I anticipated some kind of violent action by the United States. They do kidnap presidents. President Aristide of Haiti was kidnapped by the CIA about 20 years ago. He was marched to a plane with an unmarked tail, and he was flown 23 hours to the Central African Republic, where he was dumped. In this case, they kidnapped the president of Venezuela and brought him to New York City, my home, in fact. What will happen next remains to be seen. If we still have the rule of law in the United States, a judge should not look kindly on the U.S. government kidnapping the president of another country and bringing him forcibly to the United States. So we'll see what the judiciary actually does, whether there is an independent judiciary still in the United States. This is a question. But it was clear that the United States was going to take some kind of violent regime change operation. And I just would like to share an interesting anecdote as part of this. In Trump's first term, in September 2017, in his first year of office, on the margins of the UN General Assembly in September of 2017, Trump had dinner with a number of Latin American presidents. And he said, even then, so we're talking basically about 8 years ago, he said, why don't I just invade Venezuela? So my point is that this is something that has been on the minds of the U.S. Security state for a long time. In that dinner 8 years ago, the Latin American leaders talked him down, said, Mr. President, that's not a very good idea. It could create a lot of instability. It might not be helpful for you and for the United States. Well, this time he didn't seek advice or listen to advice. He just took his foot off of the brake on our military machine, and they went after it. But
Jeff, what's the intent here? Drug trafficking, doing away with drug traffickers, or is it oil and supremacy?
It is two things. One, any left-wing government is a target of the United States. So this is decades and decades of regime change operations in the Western Hemisphere when there is a left-wing government. So this is part of it. And this is a left-wing government. But the second target is oil, obviously. Venezuela has vast oil reserves. In fact, on the official proved reserves data of the U.S. Geologic Survey and other lists, Venezuela's proved reserves are the largest in the world, even larger than Saudi Arabia's. Of course, they're not as economical. They're heavy oil, but they're nearby the United States. We have the refineries in the southeast of the U.S. Trump, he's a maniac. He looks for oil. He says, well, that's ours. It's like a child, frankly, but it is part of a deep state which has wanted to overthrow this government for a very long time.
You've already warned that Greenland could be next, but I have to ask you this. What next? Panama, Colombia, Mexico, Greenland. Katie Miller, Stephen Miller's wife, had put out a post with the American flag over the Greenland map saying soon. And Trump reiterated the same thing. So is Greenland next?
My fear is that Iran is next. keep an eye on Iran. The reason is that Israel is obsessed with Iran, wants to overthrow the Iranian government and the United States for reasons that are not 100% clear, I have to say, is basically beholden to Israel. The United States fights wars that Israel tells the United States to fight. It's very, very dark, actually. And so when Netanyahu came to Mar-a-Lago last week, just around New Year's, they made a joint statement basically saying, Iran, you're next, or you could be next. And Trump has said that with protests in Iran, if the government cracks down on the protests, we are basically locked and loaded. We're ready to fight. Well, this is clearly a typical deep state provocation. In other words, we're lining up the arguments, the human rights argument. We're going to go in and invade Iran to protect the people of Iran. This is a standard playbook. And so this is where I would expect the possibility of a real global explosion. And I would give a warning. That one will be hotter than Venezuela if it happens. It would be potentially disastrous because while Venezuela is in the American geographic neighborhood and China and Russia don't want to take on the United States in the Western Hemisphere, Iran is in the middle of a lot of major powers, and Iran is itself with hypersonic missiles and a capacity to do a lot of harm and a lot of damage, and Israel is a nuclear-armed country. All in all, it's a recipe for potential disaster, and sound heads should be saying to the United States right now, stop it.
Monroe Doctrine now, by some, has been rechristened Donroe Doctrine. And we're looking at a Western Hemisphere narrative that has been put out by the Trump administration. Isn't that imperialistic and expansionist in nature at a time when maybe it's not just the international laws, but Trump has also violated some of the domestic war laws by not informing the Armed Services Committee, the Congress, not being kept in the loop, sir?
Look, we don't have a constitutional order right now. All those tariffs that were put on India, for example, were the whim of the President of the United States declaring this emergency or that emergency by executive decree. Congress has the power of war, not the President, but doesn't matter. And when a congressman complained that this is unconstitutional, Trump mocked him. Constitution? What are you whining about? He said. So we have a political crisis in the United States. It's not called that. It's not recognized like that. Congressmen still go to their office or they go to the floor of the House or the Senate, but they don't play a role. This is an executive branch that's on its own right now. And this is also very sad and very dangerous. Sure.
The Western Hemisphere argument by the United States of America, does that now give room for China to play out its plans for a takeover of Taiwan at a time when they're saying this is our region? China can say, okay, we've done nothing there, then you do nothing here.
Well, I hope that China and India, indeed the BRICS countries, will say this is not the way we want the world to operate. We want the world to operate according to the UN Charter, to international law. I believe that what has happened is actually an important opportunity for the BRICS, which this year has the Indian presidency, to say, no, we represent the bulk of humanity. In fact, the emerging and developing economies are 85% of the world population. We don't want to go down the road of rogue states. And so I hope that the BRICS actually make a real point right now. This is not how we behave. This is not how we're going to behave. We will defend the UN Charter.
All right, what you really can do is catch the full interview with my colleague Geeta Mohan with Jeffrey Sachs at 10:30 p.m. tonight in just the next half hour. All right, that's an interview you need to stay tuned for, but I'm going to end with the image of the day. Now, it's a bizarre turn of events, and it happened in Kota, Rajasthan. The thief found himself in a very tight spot, literally in a very tight spot. Attempting a break-in, the man got stuck headfirst in a hole meant for an exhaust fan, dangling 10 feet above the ground. Rather than giving up, he threatened the homeowners, claiming accomplices nearby. The owners immediately called the police. Dramatic visuals show cops carefully pulling the man inside, wincing in pain as he struggles to his feet. A daring escape plan gone hilariously wrong, and a thief literally caught between a hole and a very hard place. Well, that's our image of the day, and I also want to add to it, the owners of the house, the residents, had actually gone to the Khatu Sham temple to pray and came back to actually see the thief hanging there in that vent. Quite amazing, a bit of divine intervention with the thief getting caught. Well, that was funny. With that, a quick break to stay with us. We're going to see you tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Have a good evening.